Hello everyone, and welcome to today's virtual workshop titled ACTA Registry Randomised Trials Key Methodology Issues. Before we proceed with our workshop, we just wanted to draw your attention to the new ACTA initiative beyond COVID-19, a solution-focused forum. This is the new initiative for all people who work in clinical trials and would like to participate in sharing their learnings and assist with new solutions. More information can be found on ACTA website. My name is Dorota Doherty, and I'm a research biostatistician and head of the Biostatistics and Research Design Unit at the Women and Infants Research Foundation at King Edward Memorial Hospital for Women in Perth. And I'm also an adjunct professor at the Division of Obstetrics and Gynecology at the University of Western Australia. I will be co-chairing this virtual workshop today with Dr. Felicity Flack, who is the Manager of Policy and Client Services at Population Health Research Network, also located in Perth, Western Australia. We also have with us our ACTA project officer, Anita Balagrunathan, who really made an excellent job to make this workshop possible. Before we start with the actual project, there are a few housekeeping issues. You would all have firstly joined this meeting in the audio that is using your computer speaker system by default. But if anyone would like to prefer to switch to listening over the telephone, just select telephone in the audio panel and the dial information that is displayed now on the screen. This workshop on registry randomized trials will cover three methodological issues. It talks about trial design, validation of endpoints, and electronic data capture. As it is a virtual workshop, it has been organized over 2 days, and in today's sessions we cover two topics. We talk about trial designs for registry-based trials and also about validation of endpoints for trials from the registry. The electronic data capture presentation will continue on in tomorrow's sessions, which is Wednesday, May 20th. In today's session, we have 4 20-minute presentations, and these are followed by question time, which is about 30 to 40 minutes, and in one combined question and answer session and discussion. Anyone who would like to ask questions will be able to submit text questions to today's presenters by typing them into questions pane of the control panel. And questions can be sent at any time during presentations as well as during the Q&A session. One final comment before we begin. Today's event is being recorded, and all who registered will receive a follow-up email within 24 to 48 hours with a link to view the recording. And now we can start introducing our presenters. Our first presenter is Professor Andrea Forbes. Andrew is a biostatistician and head of the Biostatistics Unit in the School of Public Health and Preventive Medicine at Monash University. His research interests cover development and evaluation of cluster randomized designs and practical statistical issues arising in clinical trials and observational studies. He is a chief investigator on NHMRC statistical methodology grants and a variety of applied projects in clinical trials and observational studies. Andrew will be discussing today cluster randomized crossover registry trials. Our second speaker is Dr. Patty Childress. Patty is a biostatistician specializing in health service research and trials in primary care. She is the lead biostatistician at the Department of General Practice, the University of Melbourne, where she provides expert statistical support and advice to the research programs and advances the methodological and statistical skills of researchers and higher research degree students. Her research interests include the design and analysis of randomized controlled trials, in particular cluster randomized trials and stepped wedge designs. Patty will be talking to us about stepped wedge cluster randomized trials. Our third presenter is Professor Christopher Reid, who is a cardiovascular epidemiologist with appointments as research professor at 2 universities, the School of Public Health at Curtin University in Western Australia and the School of Public Health and Preventive Medicine at Monash University. His major interests include clinical outcome registries, randomized controlled trials, and epidemiological cohort studies. He's a principal investigator for the Victorian Cardiac Procedures Registry Project, the Melbourne Interventional Group Registry, and the Australia and New Zealand Society of Cardiac and Thoracic Surgeons National Cardiac Surgical Registry. And he's currently a chair of the Australia and New Zealand Alliance for Cardiovascular Trials Network. And our Christoph will be talking to us about cardiovascular registry trials, the challenges in endpoint validation. Our last speaker today is Professor Stephen Mcdonald, who is a clinical nephrologist at the Central Northern Adelaide Renal and Transplantation Service and executive officer of the Australia and New Zealand Dialysis and Transplant Registry. His research interests center around the epidemiology of end-stage renal disease. Current areas of interest include effects of consumer engagement on registry research and practice, registry-based clinical trials, pregnancy among dialysis and transplant patients, patterns of care and outcomes of kidney transplantation among Indigenous Australians, and how registry data informs clinical practice. Stephen will be presenting to us today on lessons learned from the registry-based trials in dialysis and transplantation.